Banali, is welcome you to Thriving in the Age of Disruption podcast series. What I'd like to do now, Banali, is to have you introduce yourself and take a minute or two to share a little bit about your life professionally, also personally.
Firstly, thank you very much and congratulations to you for creating this very interesting platform. And I'm really happy to be part of it. A little bit about myself. I think it's probably one of the best phases in life because I think I'm very, very sure of what I want now. So I've been in the corporate world for close to 3 decades. I started my working career in India with American Express. And I'm very grateful to that organization because it really taught me a lot. So I worked with American Express for 12 years, based out of Delhi. And my last position there was the head of strategic alliances for them. I moved very reluctantly to Dubai. It was because my husband's job required him to move. So, if you're a working couple, then usually someone's got to give. Unfortunately, at that point of time, his career was at a stage when the requirement for him to move was offering him a promotion. So I reluctantly agreed.
Yes.
And this is something that I do want to talk about it because many a times the women follow, and then it sort of gives you a gap in your career. But I have to say that while I was reluctant, it turned out to be not wonderful for me to have moved to the Middle East. I had all these apprehensions. I'd never been here. But I think all those were dispelled very, very quickly after I moved here. I started working and heading marketing for a fairly small boutique bank called Rack Bank. I hadn't even heard of it, to be honest. But the challenge that it offered me at that point was that, you can make a brand or something that is non-existent right now. And that seemed very exciting because while I learned a lot in American Express, I just feel that I was one more person who was doing that. And, I can never own that brand or anything because it's already created. So all that I learned there, all the risk-taking ability, the challenges, the questioning, I felt this was my chance to try and explore and build here. And I got to say that it's been a roller coaster ride for sure, but also one of the most fruit-filling career-wise opportunity that I got trying to build the brand Rack Bank. Now, I worked with them for a good 16 and a half years, multiple disruptive campaigns, multiple awards. Team sizes grew from 5 to 55. Wow. My journey progressed within the organization. CEOs came and went. I think I was the one consistent factor which sort of survived and then thrived over those 16 years because usually anybody new who comes there, usually they change pretty much the management team. It wasn't easy, I'll say that, because coming from a multinational organization to a local setup, it's different. The format is different. You need to understand and adapt. So it did teach me a lot of resilience, I have to say, because sometimes I did challenge the status quo and create a difference and not copy because I wanted to create something different. But having said that, I had the support of the management and I'm lucky that I got that backing. We did create something which is exciting. Last quarter of last year is when I decided that I'd done enough. I was juggling a lot of work, being a corporate wife, with my 2 girls in different countries and a dad who needed more of my attention. So I just decided that I needed to slow down a bit. I actually thought I'll take a year off, to be honest, but that didn't last because I got these offers as soon as I quit my job. And then I'm like, okay, if opportunity is knocking, then maybe keep your foot in the door. And actually, I'm glad I did that because I do get excited about creating new stuff. So I've taken on advisory roles. I'm currently with Network International as an advisor to them, and I'm helping them with their marketing strategy, their storytelling, and their agencies and partners in place. I'm also an advisor for International Women Board of Directors. This is a fairly new initiative to ensure companies and organizations can get more women on board. I'm also helping a non-profit organization to help build a brand in India as well on a pro bono basis. I have all this information and knowledge that I love to help and give back. It helps employ almost 5,000 women. They're trying to get into producing a range of products, and I'm trying to help them package it and position it and market it and build a brand that it's eco-friendly because it's from the Himalayas. So that's my way of giving back to the environment and also to help other women as well. But on a personal level, I'm a mother to two girls. My elder daughter lives in New York, so she's pretty much off my payroll and she's working. And my younger one goes to high school. I also have a very handsome 2-year-old Cocker Spaniel, who's everybody's favorite, I think, in the house, and the only one who listens to everybody. My husband and I met in school, so we go back a really long way. He literally lives on a plane. His job requires him to do so.
I wanted to ask you, what can young women do so that they can climb the corporate ladder in a more sustainable way?
I was lucky in the first organization, American Express, because it's a global company. I didn't see too many gender biases. So I think I got my breaks and promotions as and when they were due. I would encourage anybody who's starting up and where they feel that they are ready for something bigger, they should speak up and not wait for it to happen automatically, or that their leader should look out for them. It doesn't happen that way. You have to present yourself. You have to be confident about what you can bring. Even if you know 50% of the next job, raise your hand. Very often, most women end up going through this imposter syndrome. And that unfortunately only happens to women. No men sort of questions his ability to do a bigger job. He just raises his hand and then, wishes the best. Women think they need to know the job before they get into the jobs. I would say just leave all of that and raise your hand and go for it. What's the worst that can happen? You can get guidance, you can fail. They teach you resilience to jump back. You can ask for help, but at least help yourself first. You need to have self-esteem, confidence. And it doesn't matter if you can't. If you can even give it, deliver 80% of the next level, you learn. The whole you're not meant to know everything before you do everything. I would really urge them to speak up. My second organization that I work for, I did face a lot of challenges in the initial bit because it was unfortunately was a boys' club at the top. And that can sometimes get very difficult to maneuver, especially if there's different nationalities, different age groups, and different cultures involved. And that was my challenge, because having come from India to come into a multi-dimensional, multicultural, and very, very male-oriented organization, and especially the leadership was completely men. It was challenging, I'll say that, because many a times I felt that my voice was never heard. While it was loud, it wasn't heard. So, but I think I plundered on and delivering and sticking to my point, and then my results started speaking for itself. Speaking up is the only way that you can help yourself. Be confident in what you bring to the table. Don't let anyone bully you out of the table. You've earned your seat around the table, so own it, ask the questions, and deliver to your best. I don't think anyone will penalize you for what you don't know, because that's how we all learn as well. I think that's something that you have to sort of start imbibing and trusting and being confident. It's all about how you see yourself rather than worry about how everybody else sees themselves or sees you. I think the times have changed now. There are a lot more women on the table. They're all speaking up. I think it's important for any organization, and I firmly believe that, to have women around the table, because not only because every organization can thrive or be successful. It's not only about the bottom line, it's also about the well-being of the employees. It's about also seeing the different dimensions and creative dimensions that many women bring onto the table. So you can't be single dimensional and single focused anymore in this in the world. And to be also in tune with what's happening around you, you need different opinions, different ways of thinking. You need to be inclusive, because that's how we want the world to be. So if you don't start with your pool, it's not only going to be for optic reasons. So unless you mandate and measure that you have enough diversity on your table and see how it's working, you're not really going to do it. It's only going to be something which you've written as an agenda, or on your website, that you believe in diversity, that you believe in environment and ESG. But if you don't really do it and put measurements in place and actually walk the talk, then it's not authentic. I think it's very, very important for organizations, because everybody wants to say that their brand has a purpose and they want to give back and they're ESG compliant, but actually delivering and showing measurement is another ballgame.
That's
so
true.
If you see that an organization is not doing it but saying, but then you have to speak up as well. So it's the responsibility of the employees to question the authenticity of what we're putting out there as well. It's not easy. I can tell you that it's not easy to question. We are saying something, but are we really doing it? But I think it's our responsibilities as well, because you sleep better at night that you didn't go with the status quo, you didn't go with the flow, you questioned it and ensured that we delivered something together which was better for everyone.
That's right. Well, it's really interesting. I found myself in the same position when I was working for Singapore's national shipping line called Neptune Orient Lines, of being able to speak up. It's about taking on more responsibility, being able to drive your career in the direction that you want to go, rather than just be a victim about it. I went to badger my boss, like, when can I do it? And then I think after about 6 or 9 months, he said, okay, you can do it now. Don't stop, because if you stop, then you don't get the opportunity. You've also highlighted to us the harsh reality of when the leadership is one-dimensional, like the boys' club. Sometimes you can be loud, but you're still not heard. It's having confidence in what you do, but also in making sure that you deliver on the results. Because over time, if you keep delivering, that's what they're going to see, that you're capable and you deserve a seat there. Another conversation that I wanted to have with you is about the entrepreneurial mindset. And I define entrepreneurial mindset as one whereby a person is being resourceful. Number 2 is that they are able to be with uncertainty. And number 3 is to create value for all their stakeholders, and it can be also non-financial. You were demonstrating someone using the entrepreneurial mindset, but in a corporate context. So can you share from an entrepreneurial mindset perspective?
Yeah, so you're right that there is an entrepreneurial hat that you put on. I think the first task is that you need to be ready for failure. So while you're ready to take risks, you should be able to see both sides of it. So you want to challenge the status quo, but you should be ready for the kudos, and in case it doesn't work, for the brickbats as well, and not take it personally. And that's the risky business sometimes. So people want to very often not challenge status quo and go with the flow. My opinion was, if you go with the flow, you're dead fish. Why would you do that? Why would you not take the opportunity to create something new and disruptive? Because that's what's going to be remembered. The format that I used with our marketing campaigns, we were the last entrant into the market. I don't care whether people love us or hate us. They should just not ignore us. That's literally the line, that if we are creating something, people will have opinions, because everyone should have an opinion. As long as that gives something and there's brand recall, love us or hate us, but don't ignore us, was the bottom line that I evaluated everything that we delivered with it. Yeah, a lot of people liked what we did because it was different, it was disruptive, it was risky, it was refreshing, it wasn't a Me Too. A lot of people questioned it, saying, is it apt, is it not? Doesn't matter. It was topic of discussion in even social gatherings. So I just felt that if you are one of the last entrants, we were the 45th bank to launch retail side of it. So you can't just do the same thing, because otherwise banking can get pretty boring, right? The functional thing. How do you make a difference? You can't talk about interest rates all the time, or everybody has the same set of products. How you deliver your message is very important. We, in fact, even coined these 4 C's about our communication platform. And these are not the conventional 4 C's. These are the C's that how we measured, how we communicated, that it should be cheeky, it should be confident, it should be combative, and it should be clear and simple. So people understand what you're saying. We do use sense of humor a lot in our campaigns, which is not something that was happening in this part of the world at all. Yes. Humor or competitive advertising was not something that was even seen at all. So, those were risky things to get into. It's not that we were the first ever. It was happening in different parts of the world, which were way more evolved. But in the Middle East, combative advertising or anything with a bit of a humor or something which is made you smile or cheeky was not the norm. So we did push that envelope. I'll tell you something about an Islamic brand that we launched. Islamic, in the context of things, becomes a lot more traditional as well. And we actually tried to create a creative which was completely disruptive. It was very scary, I have to say, because it could go anyway. Because while the management was backing us, you can't control the external environment. You can't control the journalists. You can't control if you end up offending people on the basis of culture. And so I was scared, and I'm grateful that the organization backed me, and we launched. It took time for it to gather momentum. So yeah, I did get these brickbacks about how could you do this, how it's not culturally sensitive, till we sort of said it wasn't being disrespectful. It was also showing that there is humor in how you convey a message. And actually then the momentum started building on that community actually loving it. And we won many awards for it as well. But it was a risky line. It paid off. It could have terribly gone wrong, but it didn't. So I feel that at least we tried. We changed the narrative. We changed the way they typically box how Islamic products should be offered. Very stereotype, very rigid, very conservative. You have to be able to see if it went the other way, would it sort of break you down on your ability to jump back off, have the confidence, have a mindset that you give it your best. You have to be convinced yourself before you can convince everybody else out there. And that for me is very important, that whatever that you're producing, you have to be passionate about it. And it can't be it can be somebody else's dream that you're fulfilling, but you need to be on board and you need to ask all the questions to be convinced, and then you can be part of the journey. It can't be anybody else's that you're trying to deliver. You have to deliver on your own. So I think being authentic and core to also having the ability to self-reflect and say, hey, what are my strengths? Am I working to my strengths? And where do I need to develop? Focus on what is required. Those sort of mindsets will help you in whatever line of business you want to get into. I think risk-taking, adaptability, evaluating the opportunity, ready and open for feedback. It'll help.
I want to explore crisis-ready mindset. Crisis could be a failure or a setback. And the problem with most people is that when they encounter a failure or a setback, sometimes we get stuck and we don't know how to move forward. And, it may not be in all areas of our life. It could be specific in one. We might be great at work, but we may be stuck in our personal relationships. But how can we have a crisis-ready mindset in all areas of our life? And I often found that people who have daily practices are actually able to navigate crisis in an effective way. What has been your way of dealing with crisis or failure?
I think it's very important, like you said, to firstly understand when you're going through something. And I'll give you a personal example. During the pandemic, we were all victims and suffered in different formats. My biggest fear was if something was to happen to my parents because I was away. And unfortunately, it did. I do get emotional with this. I did lose my mom to COVID.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, that was something I was so not ready for. You're helpless. It just was something that disrupted my world. I couldn't do anything about it. It was grief that literally sat on my chest. And the thing was, you can be quiet for your girls around you. You can sort of be accepting or all of that. So sorry, I always end up getting emotional. But I think the biggest learning from that was that I sought help. I looked for grief therapy because I knew I was not being able to manage on any front because this grief had overtaken everything in my life.
Right.
And I think that's a very important thing, that you seek help. You look for therapists. And initially, I would not do that. I would sort of try and do my own meditation, try and do my own spirituality or whatever that but to no avail. So till you actually seek for help, and that's where I felt that I could actually be more accepting and I'm at a much better space, is because I seeked and asked for help from a specialist. I didn't have the answers. I didn't have any information that would have helped me be more accepting of what had happened. So I think the lesson for me is that don't be the super person trying to do everything. Seek help. Ask for help from the specialists. Be vulnerable. There's no harm in showing that. Even with your teams, you have to lead with empathy. There's crisis happening in everybody's lives, in their personal lives. So how they show up at work is always going to be a reflection on what's going on at home. So have an empathetic ear to what's going on and then lead through that, because that's when you will get a team which will work for you, seeing what was going around, even in the way you market even your product. So empathy and care, you have to be sensitive enough to see what's going around, to not look opportunistic to start selling products at that stage in life when the whole world was going through crisis. So we in fact even built this other empathy and care as another parameter for all our communication that we are sending out. It cannot be a sales driven or a market driven communication. If you're real and authentic on what's going on and what you're feeling, and if you bring that out, people appreciate that. People appreciate the vulnerability. Your team appreciates that. And then you are at a better space because you're being authentic. So for me, this whole thing about reaching and asking for help if you're stuck is so important. It's so important to speak up and have that self-realization that you're not doing well. And that takes you to another this thing of self-care, your mental health, your stress levels. These are all derivatives of how we try and deal with everything on our own, and not speak up, not ask for help, not even realize we're going through that, because it all eventually ends up impacting your health or your relationships or the people around you or your work, because you haven't sort of internalized what is going on with you. If you're overworked, or if you're in a bad relationship, or if you're stressed about your own health or someone's health, and you're not talking or seeking guidance, then you're going to sort of bottle it all up, and it'll pour out in every other format of your life or relationships. And I think that's one thing in crisis, or in any situation which you're not ready or prepared for, that you should be able to see how you step back and saying, how can I help myself? How can I help the environment? How can I help people? And what do I need to try and do that, instead of getting consumed with it?
Wow. You've actually created some valuable lessons for us to take away on crisis ready mindset. And the first piece that you pointed out was being able to know ourselves and to understand whether we've come to perhaps a point where this particular situation is beyond our own personal resources and network or support system. Because then the next step is, how can I get it from outside? But more importantly, also, you don't have to be a super person all the time. And that also helps you to seek help, right? And then show your vulnerability, because that also supports you, right? To be yourself and not to pretend to be stronger than what you're not. And the last thing was to have an openness that it's okay, I may be successful, but I can seek other people's help, other expert help, because in that particular situation, I've maxed out and I just need someone else to support me through that. We close the door because we feel that being successful is about telling everyone that we are all put together and that we don't have failures and we don't have struggles and we don't need to ask anyone anything else. And that's
not true.
And we stop learning, we stop being open then, right?
Wow. No, my other very a line that I use very regularly is also, your vibe attracts your tribe. So it's really how you put yourself out there. And if you're authentic, you will attract, people will appreciate. If you're putting up an act or not being authentic, it'll fall through sooner or later. It's just stress, just be you. And, people appreciate that. I think the social media puts pressure, all kinds of different platforms put pressure on you. If it is something that you can, deal with and it talks to you, then by all means, we should all be open to different, there's now AI happening, there's so much happening there. But I would say that if it attracts you genuinely, jump on the bandwagon, not because XYZ is doing it as well. So be authentic. Something is for you, something is not for you, because it talks to you, you believe in it, you're open to anything which is new ways of doing, talking, communicating, so much this thing. But whatever works for you at your own core level is very important for you to first know and then stick to it. Build your boundaries around that then.
Wow, excellent. So what is spirituality for you, and where are you in that journey?
I went a lot more spiritual after having been faced with grief. So I think for me is having belief that it's all happening because it's meant to happen, like this sort of thing. Having the belief in that you're not a victim. This was meant to be. This is where you were meant to be. This is your journey. Embrace it. Be more accepting. Give every phase of your life its due. Embrace it. Whatever comes with it, the kudos, the brickbats, so whatever is happening in your relationships, give everything that you're dealing with your 100%, and then trust the universe more than managing it. If I need peace, then I invest in me to get the peace of mind, to get the wellness, to go to a wellness center if I feel that my body and I are not aligned, my chakras are closed. Have the ability to recognize what's going on with you, and then align yourself with the bigger environment around you. For me, that's very important, so that you're in sync with what's going on. And I think everybody is their spiritual calling at different stages in life. Some are a lot more advanced, but don't be in any competition with anybody else. Your time will come when you start feeling, seeking. And if meditation gives you peace, then, invest time and effort in it. So recognize what helps you, try everything. And then I think self-care is very important, because if you are at peace, you will be able to sort of support and help in every relationship of yours. You have to be at peace yourself.
Yeah, wonderful. And do you think that it's possible for us to live simple lives? And what is a simple life?
I think simple joys of life are so beautiful, because you want to be able to sit with nature and sort of soak in the sun on a winter morning, and peel some oranges and sort of not do anything, right? That's what we sort of strive for. Just simple is what gives you the maximum amount of joy, actually. So we strive for, there is consumers, we want the bag, we want the travel, we want all of that. It's only to sort of finally rest and sort of enjoy what nature gives you. That's what we all seek for. It's when we realize that that's what gives us the joy. Family time, sitting around somewhere, is wherever it is. Initially, we want to, tick box, travel to Italy, travel to this place, travel here. At a stage in life, that's good to do, because you're gathering more experiences. It's lovely. But in the end, you'll start realizing, but in the end, what I really enjoyed was just the downtime that we all, it's just the simple joys of sitting around a table and having friends and having a good laugh, or just feeling safe and secure in the environment you're in. I think that's how simplicity, that's all what you need, actually,
Yes, that's right.
You don't need anything very much more than that.
To use 3 words to describe thriving, what would those 3 words be?
It's the balance, in a balanced state with where they want to be professionally, personally, on relationships, health-wise, and they're sort of doing well on all those areas. Then I would say that they're thriving in every aspect, because you can't be single-dimensional. You can't be thriving at work but ailing health-wise. You can't be thriving at a relationship but have issues on other areas. So for me, if there is a balance of all around your relationships, your professional, personal career, and your requirements of, wherever you want to go in life, and you're in balance with how much you can deliver and how your body is in sync with it as well. It's very important to realize that it's not a workhorse. You need downtime. You have to be aware of that. And because it'll serve you as well as, you serve it, you have to listen to your body. So often we keep putting that on the back burner, thinking we'll do that once we've achieved A, B, C, D. But I think it all has to be in sync. That's thriving. You're thriving on every level. Mentally, you're stable. You're sleeping well. You're eating well. You're traveling. You're, achieving your goals at work. Your relationships are at this thing. It can't be, because there's so much. We all live in a society. Your friends are happy with you. Your family time is important. There's a lot. It's a lot. So as and when it's all in sync, I think then you're thriving.
And, it makes a lot of sense. What's your definition of sustainability, and how does that show up in your life?
I think it's very important. It's a topic that I think is trending. So I don't think anyone is questioning the need of sustainability. I feel a lot of organizations need to put a lot more effort in ensuring and that they are doing on the ESG front is enough. And it needs buy-in from the top. It needs buy-in from the board level, but it has to be something not put for optic reasons. It has to be put with money behind it as well. And it can't keep getting deprioritized, because we cannot deprioritize our environment anymore. We've all seen the effects of that. So I think it has to be prioritized. There has to be money put behind it. I think there has to be measurements, and it has to be sustainable over years. It can't be seasonal. So I think these are some things that at an organization level are very important to do for all our well-being. There can be simple measures put into place, no plastics, no everything reusable. These are simple measures that the companies can start doing. On a personal level as well, I think on our own homes, if we see how we can help, there are many ways we can stop being attracted to the same stuff that we were doing before. And I think we all play an important role, and we must not undermine what one individual can do, make a difference, because every little drop will help. And I know it's cliched, but it does. Every little bit helps. How we turn off our air conditioners when we walk out of the room, how we switch off the lights, how we train our children to do different things, how we try and reduce our carbon print if possible. Don't just print aimlessly, because you've got the habit of printing. Everything gets printed. Everything is digital now. So, how do we consume what is thrown at us as environment friendly in an environment friendly manner as possible? Say no to plastics. Go to brands which are actually using our sustainable products and encourage them versus the bigger boys who, So I'm just saying we all can make a little difference in our own little worlds. And the first thing is to be aware. If you're aware, and then you can create that awareness amongst whoever you touch, and it starts from there. I'm hoping that we will leave the environment in a way, if not as good as we found it, but in a way that's sustainable or livable for the future generations. That's what you want to do. You don't want to mess it up for the next gen at all. So I think it's very important. And I think while a lot is being talked, we need to really see substantial results and measure them for us to feel that we have, moved the needle very positively. And there's also funds, backing it to make sure that we actually genuinely, authentically make the difference.
So, I'm going to ask you a series of questions now. Just answer the first word that comes to your mind, okay? What's your favorite book?
Okay. Favorite book, Catcher in the Rye.
Okay. If you could have dinner with anyone, who would it be?
My mom.
Oh, yeah. I got it. And what's your favorite travel destination?
Lake Como.
Oh. And what's your guilty pleasure?
Chocolate. I don't even feel guilty about it. I don't feel guilty about any pleasures. I have to tell you that, because that's taking away from the pleasure.
Exactly. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
A healing power. If I could heal people, that would be wonderful.
Yeah. And what's the best advice that you've ever received?
I think that just be you. I think
just be you.
You're passionate about things, speak up and be you.
And what's the worst advice?
Worst advice is go with the flow. Really, I've got it so many times like, hey, don't question, just go with the flow, keep the peace, keep the harmony. And my answer to that is always, I'm not dead fish. I can't go with the flow, really. I'm not wanting to be disruptive for the reason, but I need to understand the direction of the flow to understand if I want to swim upwards or downwards, or I just can't go with the flow. You have to have an inquisitive mind. You have to be curious about what's happening. You have to ask questions. You may align and still go with the flow, but you need to know why you're going to what flow.
That's true. So I've enjoyed our chat, Banali, and I hope you have as well.
Yes, very much. I hope you've you got answers that you were looking for as well.
Thank you, Banali. I'll let you go. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Dear listeners, if you've been listening and enjoying the Thriving in the Age of Disruption podcast series, as well as our Mastery Effect podcast series, we'll appreciate it very much if you can share with us the topics that are close to your heart, so that we can source the relevant experts and change makers and have them be on our show. Do comment below and let us know where you are commenting from and what is it that is of biggest concern to you.